Welcome to Canine Revolution Radio. Presented by Canine Revolution Dog Training, enhancing the dog and owner relationship through education, balance, and pack instinct.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Canine Revolution Radio. We have Heather with us today.
Yeah.
She is a nationally recognized, nationally ranked elite powerlifter.
Yep.
Also the owner of Titus Strength Fitness, which is in Knightsville, Summerville area.
Yep.
Also owner of Clean Eatz, the Mount Pleasant one, correct? Yep. So we'll talk about all this for now. Ooh. All right, we'll learn some more stuff going on today.
Yep.
And so anyway, very honored to have her with us today. So Heather, welcome. Thank you for coming. And just to start off, can you give us a little bit of background, where you grew up, kind of like your childhood, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So I'm actually born, raised in Summerville, South Carolina. Married a mama's boy from Goose Creek, so we are here forever. Went to Stratford High School. Thought I wanted to be an attorney when I grew up. Was quickly talked out of that after a few years of working in the industry. Started pursuing some other things. I just loved working out and body awareness and all that stuff. And so that quickly turned into a complete career change, complete degree change.
Yeah.
Having a baby and becoming a mama changes all the things.
Oh, yes, it does.
Went from working in physical therapy industry into saying, hey, I'm tired of people raising my babies.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
Became a stay-at-home mom. Still super passionate about what I was doing. And then decided, hey, let's open a gym and see how that works. And so that led into, expansion and growth. And then we wanted to provide something else for our clientele. And that's how we came about owning a Clean Eatz. And
nice. That's
really everything summed up really fast.
That's cool. So backing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I know I read through your blogs, I don't know if you still do those or anything, but I read some of the ones that you originally wrote, and you have 2 college degrees. Yes. Can you talk us through?
Sure.
You went down one road, then I think you changed your mind. You're like, you know what? I want to do this instead. So what happened, in that regard?
So, I thought, again, I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to do the whole law thing and be a lawyer and be a champion fighter for people who probably couldn't afford, more of like a low income type attorney, and just fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves, who didn't know better. And worked for some really, really great attorneys in downtown Charleston. And one of them was kind enough to approach me one day and be like, hey, I don't think you're cut out for this. And it had nothing to do with my potential as an attorney, but everything to do with my mindset and who I was as a person and the things that I believed in and what I was okay with. And
was this someone you were working for, or one of your peers?
It was actually one of the attorneys in the office. So there was 3 attorneys, and one of them did a phenomenal job. Yeah. But I know you're super stressed, and I know you can't sleep at night, and I know you worry about this because you want to do better and you want to do things that seem right. And I don't think that this industry is for you. Yeah. And I was mad. I was like, I can do this. I am a strong female. This is fine. Yeah. And he was, approached me again. I was like, hey, this is, again, has nothing to do with your potential, but it has everything to do with more or less your belief systems and what allows you to sleep at night and be able to survive.
I think that's super important, because I feel like a lot of people, they want one thing. Yeah. Someone tells them, hey, I don't know if you're cut out for it. And they're like, what the hell? Are you serious? Yeah. And that was your initial reaction.
Yes.
Right.
I was so mad. Because it felt like it was just attacking me. Right. And then after, I talked through it with my mom, and actually BJ, who I'm married to now, he's like, I really think that he may have something right here. Yeah.
Were you and BJ engaged at the time, or just dating?
Not yet, just dating.
Okay.
And still talking through things in life. Yeah. And so, just juggling young adulthood and then somebody throwing that at you after you've already been through college a couple times, have 2 law degrees. So legal assistant, paralegal, and then I was going to apply for law school.
That's a lot of school.
I was like, dang,
that's a lot of money,
start over. What are we doing? Yeah. And the attorney's office was actually paying for my degrees at the time. So if I changed paths, that meant a lot of things that maybe I was going to have to pay some money back and all the things, in which I ended up having to, because I did change paths. And so It worked out fantastically. Reached out to the College of Charleston administrator and was like, hey, this is kind of where I'm at. Can you help me talk through this stuff? And she plugged me into, I just told her the things I enjoyed doing. Swimming, running, working out, those things. She's like, hey, I think I have another administrator that I want you to talk to. And so I went and talked to the like physical education kind of administrator there in the science department, in the health department. And she hooked me up with a PT and just was like, hey, go try home health physical therapy, follow this PT around for a few days. And I think this may be a good fit for you. Day one, I was hooked. I was like, this is for me. And she did pediatrics. So like I knew pediatrics probably wasn't for me. It's a little bit of a sad field a lot of times to be in because you're dealing with terminal illness typically, and you're teaching parents how to transfer children and deal with end of life stuff. But the PT world in particular just like grabbed me. I never had any injuries growing up, never had any of that stuff, so I'd never been introduced to that field. Didn't know much about it, but just within a day I was like, this is mine. This is where I'm going. So
quick pause on the story. Have you had any injuries now that you're a big time power lifter? You know, have you had
I had a couple.
Can you touch on them real quick?
Sure.
What's your big ones?
Sure. Low back. I can't keep my hips into place. My deadlift is my biggest lift by far. So I currently have a 370 pound deadlift as a 114 pound lifter. So that puts a lot of pressure on the hips and low back and just keeping them in alignment, breaking form whenever you're pulling a max lift. And it'll get me if I don't pay attention and listen to my body sometimes. But that's the biggest injury I've had so far.
Good to go. I had just recently had my bicep tear and put back together back in May, and we're still in recovery. Did a lot of PT for that, so I'm big on the injury stuff these days.
What did you do?
I went into a major calorie deficit because I'm like, I'm more of like a bodybuilder style lifter, not a bodybuilder, but
aesthetics.
Just that style. And so I'm like, you know what? It's time to trim some fat. It's like summertime, time to trim. So I go into a major calorie deficit, and then I'm still working out like normal. And I'm like super tired all the time. I'm like, this is weird,
No.
And then I pick up a treadmill. It was a dinosaur treadmill, super old,
super heavy.
We're using for the dogs, super heavy with my left arm, which I've done 100 times just to pick it up real quick, just one part of it, and boom, pops. Rolls up to my shoulder. My buddy Chris is out there. He didn't help me. He's just standing there watching me do this. He's like, oh my God, you got to go to the ER, bro. I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, bro, and so then I take off my shirt and this arm is just jacked up. So anyway, got it fixed, in recovery for that. But got
your calories fixed.
Got the calories fixed, which we'll talk about.
Good.
But anyway, jumping back, so you're like, okay, PT, good to go. This is for me. So then what happened? You go back to school for that, or what?
Basically changed tracks. Most of like the really basic things, math, English, all of that stuff, all still applied. But I did have to do a little bit of backtracking because, of course, you go. Your tracks get specialized. So I had to backtrack and go towards that. Not a huge deal. Actually enjoyed it. Had to tack on a couple of biologies, a couple of maths or whatever. But absolutely loved it. College of Charleston was fantastic. Planned on applying at MUSC to go into their PT program. And BJ and I had been married at this time and got pregnant. So
surprise.
So I had enough time to at least finish my degree at College of Charleston, get a bachelor's in exercise science. Started talking with admin again about like, what do you do? What are the chances that somebody can survive PT school with basically it was going to be a 2-month-old? And they're like, oh, it's risky. Why don't you try this program? And Trident Tech has a program for PTA. So just kind of just started doing some research on what that looks like, why somebody would go into one program versus the other. And I am so glad that it turned me towards the PTA program. It's a 1-year program versus 3 to 4 years in the PT program. I didn't want to do paperwork. Also didn't want to be in a ton of debt as a newly married couple with a baby. And so like that's a lot of things. And so started looking at finances and what all that would look like. And when I broke it down, I was like, dude, I can go into the PTA program as soon as I get out, maybe work for a month or two, and all my debt would be paid off versus going into MUSC, doing this program for 4 years, all the stress that would entail as a new family with a baby, and have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. No brainer. This is where we're going. Because then later, if I wanted to go to the PT program, I could do it. So glad I went that route because I actually get to put my hands on patients. I don't have to worry about insurance so much, all the paperwork that it requires. And theoretically, I could potentially make more than a PT per hour because I'm not doing the paperwork. That in itself takes up so much time.
Paperwork is just annoying. You know? But you're doing it now as a business owner. Too,
you know? There's a filing cabinet.
You got someone doing that. The cabinets there.
And so that it worked out perfectly. Absolutely love the field.
Awesome.
So
So then you jumped into that. How long were you doing that before you kind of decided you're going to the next thing?
So probably 7-8 years of just strictly PTA, nothing else. Kids are growing up a little bit. My daughter was going into the first grade, or she just completed first grade. And she was coming home every day. I was working pretty much just to pay for private school. That's where we wanted her to be. I grew up in private school. Husband grew up in public, but we were just like, this is what we want to do with our children.
What school was she going to?
Faith Assembly in Summerville.
And
loved it. All the teachers that I had were still there. Principal was the principal when I was there. Like, you know,
the connections.
She had the connections. Like everybody knew her. And I was a good kid growing up, so it was fine. And so we were just like pulling our hair out every day. She'd come home crying because we had to read and do hours of homework as a first grader. Like That's crazy. It was insane. And she's a smart child and she just wanted to do better and like all the things. And one day I was just like, we have had enough. Somebody else is raising my child. We want to be the one raising our children. We want to be the ones that are championing them into feeling successful and not feeling defeated every day because reading is hard or math work is hard. And we're all tired at the end of the day. Ain't nobody got time to be crying. We want to sit down, watch cartoons at night and enjoy life together, what's left of the day.
And if we're being real, you know, they got all those multiplication tables and things they got to do at the end of the day. When you're in the real world, you got something on your phone. It's called a calculator. You don't need to do all that stuff.
You got it. That's where we're at now. It's like, if I can help them figure out where to find information in life, that's big key. It's not really how much you remember in your brain, but can you find this stuff and find it quickly, typically, and find good information. So that's the stuff we were seeing. Like I want to help them do that. I don't want them to be sad because they couldn't remember 50 billion flashcards that they needed to like spit out on a test. Like, I hate standardized testing. I hate all that stuff. So how are we going to do that better? And that's where we came into homeschool. We didn't have any debt because we were really smart about that. We lived off of cash in our income. We lived within our means. The only debt we had was our mortgage.
Talking about that real quick, branching off on that, did you guys follow a system to get onto that no debt other than the house train? You know,
that's a good one. That is a lot of fun. Like one day you'll have to have my husband out here because he would love to
big
have
into that.
Oh, he loves it. Spreadsheets, finances, all of that stuff. When I met him, he only paid with cash, so I was the debt one, right? I had the credit cards because
like,
I wanted the fancy
clean you
clothes.
Up a little bit.
Like we got to do better. So our goal before we got married was literally pay everything off. So all we had was our mortgage. And then we lived off of his income while I did school, raise baby kind of thing. But we literally do we have a system? We're known at one of our banks for we have like 20 bank accounts. So like the envelope system.
So you use a bank account as your envelope.
You got it. So, and all of them were pretty much savings accounts. So we actually couldn't go and pull from the envelope system, like the envelope in the house. We would have to literally go and transfer money from one account to the checking account to spend it. So it was too much time. So when we were a little bit younger, cell phones were not as easily accessible to get on your online bank account. So he would legitimately have to call his mom or somebody who was at their house and be like, hey, can you transfer this money for me? I'm in Sears and I need to buy this. So you had to go home, Get on your massive computer, wait for it to dial up for a minute, and then you could transfer the money to spend it. So by then you've thought, do I really need this?
Right.
But we did. So we had we still have it that way, 20 bank accounts, large spending, car expenses, vacation, and our money breaks down into that. So I can look at it and be like, all right, we can't go on vacation this week.
Yeah.
Because there's no money in there and we can't pull it from anywhere else. So
that's a great way to do it.
It was great. Yeah. It worked for us really, really well so we could visually see what we had.
That's one thing I'm very passionate. I have those talks with our whole team here because we have a lot of young people. I'm big on, hey, if you're young and you get this right, you're not you won't be in pain later. So we're big on the financial discipline. I love that. Super interested in you guys' system and all that. So. Good to go. So you guys are financially disciplined. You're good to go. You're doing the homeschooling. Right?
So I cut back. I was only working part-time, and then I tailored all the way back to PRN. I love home health environment. So I love going into people's homes. Their family becomes part of my family, or I become a part of their family. That's my thing. I loved it. I loved traveling. I loved the flexibility of home health. So if I needed to take a child to the doctor, I didn't need to ask anybody. I just shifted my own schedule around. So I love that environment. Loved seeing people and helping them navigate their home life and become more of a part of that. So I was able to shift into more of a part-time position. Wanted to keep cutting back to more of a PRN position just as needed. Home health environment doesn't work well with that. So ended up, they basically more or less just didn't fire me, but stopped giving me patience. Right. So I was like, okay, God, thanks for this. And we just kept working with our finances to where it was fine.
Don't need fine. It.
And by then our second child was done with preschool-y stuff. So he was coming home to homeschool. Then we adopted. And so we homeschooled them because we didn't, middle school's tough.
You're growing.
I don't want to play with middle school. None of that. So, our newly adopted children, they were going to be homeschooled as well. So I needed to be that stay-at-home mom.
And so with the homeschooling, I don't know exactly, we were this is actually my brother, but we were homeschooled for a little bit.
What?
And then we were we were shipped back out to real school because we were just causing too much trouble at home. But
I feel that.
So I went back at 10th grade. He went 7th grade.
Okay.
And then we graduated, from that point on. But probably a little bit different. When we were homeschooled, we had all these courses that we did at home, and then we actually met up once a week with a bunch of homeschoolers. I don't know what it was called, but one of the moms would teach a class, someone would teach a class.
Perfect.
And all that kind of stuff. So real quick, kind of while you're homeschooling, are you able to get out of those things that aren't really useful out in the real world? All these flashcards, multiplication tables, you don't need that.
No.
What you need to do is know how to use your tools, you know, use a spreadsheet, that kind of stuff. So are you able to manipulate what the kids are learning to better suit them for real life?
Absolutely. Yeah. When we started out, I actually ran a homeschool program, Classical Conversations. So when kids came together and were taught and stuff, I actually ran the program that did that.
Okay.
And so I hired tutors that came in, they taught the classes and whatever. So we taught the kids how to create songs, to memorize multiplication tables. And multiplication is something you should probably be able to do really quickly. But as far as not needing all the other stuff that's incorporated in, maybe your normal everyday school, cut out all the fluff. And you just teach the stuff that's really important. So how to speak, how to write, do your math, stuff like that. And the other stuff is basically more or less, what is your child interested in? Because if they're super interested in it, they're less likely to balk the system and cause all the problems that kids have. And so let's teach them the basics and then let them kind of somewhat lead where our day is going to go. So that was really cool when they were younger to see that happen. And then we've actually moved to more of an online program now where they do Connections Academy. So it's a virtual online program. They are accountable to somebody else other than me. So now that we've got several businesses, I needed something a little bit off my plate, but that still I could monitor and pay attention to and be like, this said that. Well, we don't really believe that. But it's important for you to know that some people do believe that. Right. It's okay. And so it opens up this beautiful door of conversation. So I think that's really key for kids, is to teach them how to communicate, to ask questions, to wonder why a society believes this or why they don't, why we believe something while they don't.
Yeah.
And to, again, ask questions to be able to utilize these tools that are out there to formulate their own opinions. I mean, I remember growing up and my mom didn't like reggae music. Well, then I didn't like reggae music. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I love reggae music. Why didn't I think outside the box?
Yeah.
I more or less growing up, I was just taught to like follow the rules. If somebody else said this is the way it goes. So it's not that we're teaching our kids to balk the system, but we are teaching them to think for themselves.
Free thinkers.
It's huge, especially now with all the crazy that's going on in the world. We need you to formulate your opinion. If you're going to have that opinion, you need to stand behind it. You have to know your why and your purpose for believing that. And so I think now where we are is that we're teaching our kids more to think on their own, to find those quality resources and formulate what they believe and why. So
that's super important.
Can
I send my kids to you
That's why we
for
homeschool. There's a line right now of gym schoolers, okay?
I got you. Yep. Good to go. And what is the age range of the kids right now? What's your oldest and youngest?
Wes is 11. Faith is 13, just turned 13. Wes will be 12. Okay. And then Pate's 15. She actually goes to public school now.
Okay.
So
where's she going?
Ashley Ridge.
Yep.
Okay. We actually she's a social butterfly, loves people.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal student, an absolutely beautiful person. And so we're like, okay, we've taught you enough Jesus that you can go into the world and probably be okay.
Yeah.
She actually talks to her teachers more than probably she talks to students. Like, she loves interacting with adults. And she's not an old soul, but she can have great conversation with adults, and she asks about adults and how their day was and stuff like that.
She's super mature for her age.
Very mature. Yeah. And a lot of that comes from
the way y'all raised her,
the environment that she was raised in. And so we don't play petty games. We don't deal with drama. And if she sees that coming with a friend group, she'll go another direction. It's
nice.
It's me, it's not you kind of thing, or maybe vice versa for her. But she stays out of trouble, so I don't have to worry about it. So
good to go.
That's Faith's goal next, is to hopefully go to public school next year.
Good to go.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on, when did you get into the powerlift? Was it before the Titus, or was it how did powerlifting get into it?
So Wesley was, I think, a couple years old, and I turned 30. And I was not happy with anything about myself. So mentally, physically, emotionally, I was not right. And a young mama, struggling through all things life now, homeschooling, just doing stuff. And I asked BJ, like, hey, can you hire me a personal trainer to get me to where, like, I can just be a good mom. Yeah. So I'm not tired all the time. The typical stuff that a young mom would be going through. Yeah. And so we did. And the guy, we found him on social media. That was really when Instagram was really taking off.
Okay.
Bodybuilder. And I love the women that he was producing. Like, I just love aesthetically what they look like. And so within like a couple of months of working with this guy, like, I was jacked. So nice. I was super tight. I mean, I looked phenomenal, but I was mentally not right. But because of social media, I was, again, looking at all these women and then finding flaws in myself. So I was like, hey, BJ started to notice some things. I was just like kind of all the time, like not super happy.
Yeah.
I looked fantastic, but that other piece was still missing that I was looking for. So we was just like, let's tailor off of this. Thanks, dude. You did a great job with what we asked you to do.
Yeah.
I need to get mentally right now. So we just kind of backed off of training with him. BJ and I took the reins and started just like, hey, let's have date day every day at the gym. Yeah. We gave ourselves an hour a day to train together. And typically it was, he was going to work, I was going to get the kids. So we were just like meeting in the middle, like tag teaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we worked out for an hour, still bodybuilding style stuff, but I loved heavy weight. And there was a random group of guys who recognized that. It sounds really creepy. And when one of them approached me, he was like, hey, I've been watching you. And I'm like, stop right there. Don't say that. My husband's not here. But he's like, hey, we have this powerlifting thing. Had no idea what powerlifting was.
What gym was this at?
O2 Fitness in Goose Creek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goose Creek or the one, there used to be something else, East.
It was East Shore.
East Shore.
O2 bought it.
Yeah.
Now it's nothing. Planet Fitness is coming in.
Oh, really?
In that building.
Wow.
Yes.
Crazy.
Goose Creek is moving up.
We grew up in Goose Creek too, so I used to work out at that gym.
Really?
When I was in college, I'd go in super early in the morning.
Interesting. Yeah. Our paths may have crossed at some point.
Maybe.
Then. That's insane.
Maybe. So anyway, you're in there. These dudes they're creeping on you.
Yeah.
They're like, you lift heavyweight. Join our team.
That's basically what they said. They're like, we're looking for more females to powerlift in our federation. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I have no idea what powerlifting is, so I'll talk to my husband and we'll get back to you. So I called him on the way out and I'm like, hey, this guy approached me. This was his name. He's like, yeah, I know that guy is cool. Okay.
Oh, really?
He said I should powerlift. Yes, you're doing it. So he that next week, we switched gears. BJ started writing me a powerlifting program. We started following people like Mark Bell, more or less equipped lifters, because that's the stuff we could find that was being produced at the time, and just started training. Within a couple months, I competed in the state championship, took the deadlift record, and was like, this is for me.
Yeah.
I'm a type 3. Do you guys ever do Enneagram type stuff or looked into that?
No.
You should do that as a team building thing.
Okay.
Helps with communication. It's great. Marriage, it helps with marriage.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff. So I'm super goal oriented. I love checking boxes off, having a goal and reaching it. So that is my personality. So being able to see like, hey, this is the next record. That's what I need to beat.
Oh, nice.
And like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so powerlifting mentally did a phenomenal thing for me. So now not only did I have the aesthetic side of things, I had that mental piece that I was missing.
Yeah. Now, pause real quick for the listeners that aren't really familiar with powerlifting as much as other things. Powerlift, can you give us a quick overview of what it is?
Sure. Powerlifting is what we call the big 3. So squat, bench, and deadlift. You get 3 attempts at a meet to do each one of those and basically hit as high as you can go. And we have
same day too, right?
All at one time,
so
typically within a very short time frame.
You squat, you're like tanked.
Yes.
It's time to deadlift.
Yep. So
challenging.
That's it. The big 3.
Yeah.
Yep. So we train for those 3.
There's a lot of powerlifters that don't have the aesthetic side because, at least from what I've seen in the powerlifting community, because, they're trying to get that strength.
Yep.
So they're just in a huge calorie surplus.
Yes.
At least the way I'm understanding it.
You're right. You're right.
But then there's powerlifters that are like jacked, aesthetic, shredded, ripped, and they're like beast mode, you know?
Yep.
So that's where you were at.
Genetics. A lot of that's genetics. I was still super small and tiny. I didn't have the mindset yet. I had not connected with the right females yet in the industry that were like, screw that, like being super tight and tiny. We want to be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, and all of that. And so that's that place that I was really wanting to be, but I didn't have the right people in my corner to do that. So as I continued to get into the industry and the sport, these women were coming in droves that I just didn't know the right place to look for them in.
Yeah.
Because
they're coming to you. They're watching you.
They're
like,
not.
We gotta talk to Heather. Let's go.
And there were already just so many women in the industry that I was like, hey, I want to be like this person and what they're doing here, and I want to be like this person and what they're doing here. And so like literally reaching out to them. I mean, this is where social media was a big plus, is that then I could weed through the people that didn't have the things that I was looking for emotionally and finding the ones that were mentally strong, and they were supporting their community and in other ways of not just the sport, but in like the school system, in, helping homeless communities, different things, veterans and stuff of that nature that I was just like, I want to do that. I want to impact the community with what I do. And so I think that's where I saw the old want of being an attorney plugging in with this like physical world out there of being a part of a bigger community and impacting the community in a different way. Yeah. So now it was just through the physical aspect.
Yeah. And with that being said, that's why it's important, from one perspective, because there's 2 views about social media. It's like, don't waste your time on it. Don't do blah, 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 blah. Then I think like what you're talking about, you're looking for people to get involved with in the community, or maybe they're looking for you.
Yes.
And because you have that social media presence, they're able to find you.
You got it.
They're able to align, hey, our values align, what we're going for is the same. Let's try to connect.
You got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's how we originally found you too, through the social media. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, there are two views. Social media is bad. Social media is good.
Yep.
You know, so maybe you find, if someone's out there in between, maybe you find a middle ground.
You
but
do.
It is important.
Yep.
You know, that if you're someone, you know, that is trying to connect with others, that you're posting on there, you're putting your value, your mission out there so that people can find you, or so that you can find other people. Right. And align with them.
Right. So it can be a huge time waster. Yeah. You know, you could just be scrolling through. And if I find myself doing that, that's when I know I need to put it down and either go read a book or do something that's on my purpose list or something of that nature. Because you can just get caught up in the rat race and 4 hours in and you have done nothing productive. Right. So if you are somebody who gets caught up in that, limiting yourself, setting up those time constraints to where, you know, you get on there for a purpose and then you get off. I think somebody shared something with me the other day, but everything that you do should have a purpose. We shouldn't just be wandering around doing nothing. And I think social media should be a part of that. You know, if I'm getting on there, for me, and I joke about it all the time, if I didn't have businesses that required me to be on social media, I sure as heck wouldn't be on there probably.
I've said the same thing, you know?
But my businesses would take a little take because that's where everybody is nowadays. But I don't get on there if I'm not making a post for a business, or if I'm not going on there to like champion some of my athletes or share some of their content, that kind of thing. I don't get on there just to scroll anymore. And that used to be a big thing. So
good to go.
Yeah.
So you're doing the powerlifting.
Yeah.
How'd we get to Titus Strength?
So
what was the jump there? You know,
it didn't take long. It was only a couple of years after we got into powerlifting. BJ and I actually took over as state chairs for USA Powerlifting.
Okay.
So that opened up a whole nother avenue of people that had access to us and what we were doing just here in little old Goose Creek, right?
Was he competing too, or you were the competitor? He was just kind of...
He was my coach to start with. We knew nothing about powerlifting, and we just started doing our own research and started like just plugging in with different people and asking a ton of questions and researching. And so he was coaching me. He had no desire to lift, really. He did one meet just to say he did it and could be a better coach because he experienced what his athletes are going through. And so he was writing some programs for people for free on the side, but I was mainly his athlete.
And basically, let me guess. There was no good gym around. And you're like, you know what? Let's just make one.
Pretty much. So I don't know if you guys were going to O2 long enough. There was the circle track.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then there was a back corner of section that was used for nothing. We brought equipment into that section.
Okay.
Because there started to be people complaining that anytime us group of powerlifters were in there, nobody could squat.
And
nobody
the small
could bench.
weight area? That was a tiny weight area. Super tiny, you know?
And nobody could deadlift. So we were like, well, let's fix that for you. We'll bring in our own equipment. We'll lock up our bars because we need power bars and not these janky bars. We'll lock up all our stuff if you just let us have a corner. So basically we were renting their space. Well, then we had a ton of people wanting to come train with us, and they're like, no, this can't happen. And so we're like, well, we have enough athletes now that want to train with us. Let's do our thing. And so we started piecing stuff together, started scouring things. We were actually going to open in Cane Bay. Just didn't work.
What year was this?
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
Cane Bay was just starting.
It was really just starting.
They had just started up.
Publix and then that one side piece in that plaza. And there was a couple of units open next to Eggs Up Grill and between the smoothie place in there. There was a few units where like we can fit great there. We had the business plan built up and everything.
Eggs Up Grill's right there. Smoothies right there.
All the things. It's a mile from our house. This is great. And we could not get that door pushed all the way open. It just was crumbling every time we turned around. What was the issue? Was it like some of his finances? You cannot get a loan for a business for a gym. Period. Hands down. We're 5 years in, still can't get a loan for that, and we're profiting and growing. It is crazy how
too much
hard
liability.
It is. It's great. Yes.
Really.
Yeah. And
that's
so it was just insane. We just could not get it to push through. And so then rent was too high for the money that we did have. And we just kept, all right, God, if you're closing this door, we'll just hang tight. Started a fit camp out at church. So I started like really getting into plugging in more to the community there still. And one day somebody sent me this post on Facebook that this gym was for sale in Knightsville. I'm like, what? Who posts a gym for sale on a Facebook marketplace? This is crazy. And the price I was seeing was like, this is a joke. This has got to be a joke.
What was it used to be? what it used to be?
So it was a little gym in Knightsville.
Oh,
but
it's
it was
called
like,
Little Gym?
No, it was Curves.
Oh, okay.
It was like a Curves.
That was like a female only gym.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had this little circuit of cable equipment, some little like 2-pound dumbbells, some shaker dumbbells, weighted jump rope. Hula hoops.
Okay.
And then the music that played just literally had like a beep, and it told you to change the
Are you
station.
serious? Did you go in there for like a little session just to try it out?
No, I called the lady. I'm like, hey, I see your gym's for sale and we're interested for buying it.
Yeah.
Can I come check it out? And she was never open, so I never could get in because she had more or less just whittled her hours down to just being done. She had run it for a long time and just ready to move on with life. She was over it.
Yeah.
So we went in and it was literally just this one little unit in this metal building.
Yeah.
And I could see the potential immediately. There were other units still free. I was like, okay, this would be a great place for us to start. She has some clientele. Now, the median age for this clientele was like 80. And women. I was like, all right, I could see PT, like my PT mind is like, okay, we could make this work.
You're like, I'm going to turn them all into power.
Oh yeah, it's coming. We're going to have the strongest team of 80-year-olds ever.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved those women. They were fantastic. And
did they come over whenever you
They
started?
did. They stayed with us. Every client that was on there stayed with us. We kept the equipment that she had. Like that's pretty much what we purchased her knowledge. So she stayed with us for a few weeks to walk us through the programming she already had set up.
Okay.
We kept her check-in system she had, like all this stuff that we actually would have had no clue about how to do. She helped walk us through that.
Business stuff as far as like, how do you
huge.
do this? How do you do that? Don't forget your taxes. You know?
Yes. So that's where like, it didn't seem right for us to buy it because it wasn't what we were doing, but what we paid for was more or less her business knowledge that we had none of. And that was hands down the smartest thing we ever did. And it was probably the cheapest information we could have ever got that had the biggest impact on what we're doing. So she already had the foundation and we just stepped in and made that foundation better and grew off of that. But we kept all of that equipment and moved it into this like front little room that they were using like a dance room. They had Zumba.
Nice.
So we moved all that equipment up front, and these ladies, because they were so worried that we were going to bring in these like meatheads.
Oh yeah.
Right. The roid raging, all the things that you can mentally think of if you don't really know powerlifting. That powerlifters do.
Yeah.
And so we were like, look, you can shut these 2 doors and lock yourself in if you feel afraid. I can guarantee you it's not going to happen. But so they felt safe and they stayed with us. And like week after week, they would slowly work themselves out into our main area where our big dumbbells were and our squat racks and deadlift platforms were, and they would slowly start asking questions. And so the next thing you know, we have 7 or 8 women that we're teaching how to squat, teaching them how to use a leg press, teaching them how to do functional stuff that they had only ever done on basically these little baby cable machines that they had. And so their strength was going through the roof. Their morale was going up.
And they're like 80-ish years old.
They loved it. So we mostly between 60 and we had an 85-year-old driving from Walterboro to come see us every day.
Nice.
And I loved it. And we still have a few on the books now, and they just keep coming. And they were hungry to do more, and they didn't know they were capable of doing more. And so that fueled us really greatly off the beginning.
So did you get rid of that front room when you finally got them all over to
the
power?
cable machines are still in there.
Are they serious?
Yes.
Does anybody use them, or they're just kind
No,
of
they do.
Oh, okay.
They do use them, and those are the only cable machines we have implemented. So everything else is like functional. We have bands and then hammer strength equipment, free weights, all that stuff. But that stuff stays there because it does help more people in the community that don't understand how like a niche market gym can be for them. That's their safe place when they start. We're like, hey, you can start here, and then when you're ready, so we still keep doing that same system now. And it works great. So you'll have your people who are typically over at Planet Fitness. They're like, you're way closer to home. I don't have to fight the traffic, and I'm willing to pay the few extra dollars to do more. To have your knowledge more or less. And to grow.
Are you still in that single space, or did y'all get expand? Because I've been past it a couple times. It seems like it's wider. You bought some.
We have 3/4 of the building now.
Okay.
So we started out with that one unit. Then there used to be a pizza place.
They'll kick them out. You're like, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Nasty food. Get out of here.
So there was some like shuffling of businesses within the unit, and a dry cleaner moved to the front portion of where this pizza place was. And so that kitchen area was open. We're like, hey, can we knock out this wall and expand into there? We did that.
Yeah.
Well, then there was a whole nother portion of that unit still available. Hey, can we move into there? We can do it now. So our landlord opened that up to us.
Oh, nice.
Batting cage went out. Hey, now we want to start some CrossFit. Let's see what that looks like. Expand it out into there. So there's a couple of businesses at the front of the building, but we have 3/4 of the building now. And we need more.
Yeah.
We are exploding at the seams right now.
Yeah. What's your expansion plan? Are you allowed to say it in the public?
I can, because if anybody knows a building I can move into, I'd love it.
Well, what's your expansion plan? What are you looking for?
So do you know the Habitat for Humanity building?
Goose Creek?
No, the one that's in Knightsville. Right over the railroad tracks. It's kind of like on the right-hand side.
Let's see. Railroad tracks. So you're leaving your gym.
Yep.
You go through the roundabout.
Yep.
Or right, you go left, you go through the roundabout. Which way are you going?
Come back towards Jedburgh.
Okay.
And so when you make a right onto Jedburgh Road and you're heading towards the railroad tracks to come back towards the interstate.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Habitat is on the left there. Yeah. It's got to be 20,000 square foot.
Yeah, that's what you need.
I would love that building. Yeah. That is my ideal space there.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't envision maxing that building out, but I could fill it up.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. So that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Good to go.
Yeah.
So if you own the building, talk to Heather.
Talk to me. I can work lots of things out. We'll make anything work.
Has the guy that owns the guy or the gal that currently owns the building you're in right now said, hey, let me build on for you. Let me do.
We have actually had several conversations about that.
Really?
He's a super busy guy. Does a ton in the community, like has hands in a lot of different businesses that he personally owns.
Right.
Deep sea fishing is probably his favorite.
Oh,
so
really?
He goes missing for weeks on end, and we're like, the roof is leaking. Please come back.
Yeah.
Great guy. He owns the lot next to us, and it's a wide open field that we could put almost an identical building on, and we keep like, come on, we'll help you build it. We'll do whatever we need. Like, is this something you can do for us? We keep touching on it, and nothing keeps happening. So we're kind of just looking outside of that.
Yeah.
If something comes up.
Yeah.
But I don't want to leave the area. I love it, and it's continuing to expand. I don't have competition out there, so that's nice for business.
Most of the people that come to your gym, are they from that area? Or are they
literally
traveling?
live right around the corner. I do have a lot of my elite athletes that come. I mean, we have them coming from Daniel Island, West Ashley, the other side of Summerville, Goose Creek, Monk's Corner, almost across.
Is there any other gyms that compete with what you do?
There are a couple. There are a couple, and
they don't have you though.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. They don't do what we do as well as we do it. Yeah. And that's why we just stay in our own lane, right? Yeah. People, we had a gym one time trying to literally reach out to our clientele and be like, hey, you should come here.
No way.
We can do this better, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you can go there if you want.
Yeah. You'll be back.
I hold my clientele like this, right? And so if you think of your clientele as like chocolate M&Ms, and if you hold them like this, they're going to melt, and that's going to be gross. And it's not going to be good for either of you. So I hold my clientele like this, and I do my best to support them where they are and to love them where they are. But if at any point in time, another gym is going to be more beneficial and better for them, how dare I hold them back?
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work out, they're always welcome back.
Yeah.
So I will always take you back and forgive you for your sins. It's fine. So now,
the way that you operate, do you have like classes set up? Do people set up coaching? Do you have like a fob where they can come in and out as they need to? Like, what's your system there?
Yes.
All
of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
We actually, when we were starting the gym, we love to travel. We love our family. We love doing things together as a family. So we didn't want our business to control us. So we were like 24 hours right off the bat. It's the only way we're doing it.
Right.
That's
if a gym is not doing that, they're wrong.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it's a scary thing because you're like, somebody could pull up to the back door and load up all my equipment, right? Yeah. Not a single thing has ever walked. I mean, I have left my wedding ring sitting on a counter in the middle of the gym, and they were there for several days before I found them again. Yeah. And they didn't walk away.
Oh, there they are.
For that to happen, like, that's a big deal. You know, AirPods laying around, all the stuff all the time. Nothing goes missing. It's great.
Yeah.
So we knew we wanted to do that right away. So everybody gets key fobs or a key code depending on your age. So we allow a ton of high schoolers to come in and they get key codes.
Nice.
Our adults get key fobs. They tend to last a little longer with us. They're paying a higher price, so they get the nice luxury of a key fob. CrossFit has classes, or it's 24 hours, which we are the only facility in the area that does that. So we have a ton of elite CrossFitters that come in, have their own programming from somewhere else, and I don't want to put them in a class and limit them.
Right.
So they have the ability to come in anytime and do their training. We have Olympic weightlifting, same thing. They can come in and have coaching or do their own program from somebody else. Powerlifting, 24-hour access. And if you want help, I can always help you with that. I'll write your programming.
Do you have other coaches that are on your staff that you're like, are you the main coach?
I'm the main coach for powerlifting. I have a couple of coaches that do the CrossFit for me. And I just substitute over on CrossFit side. And so I'm more of the powerlifting coach. I'm working on building a team now because I have 32 athletes and I just can't, that's my limit. So I'm working on grooming a couple of coaches at the moment that are going to more or less learn my style, but then be able to take and make their own business a part of mine. If that makes sense.
Now, as you were building Titus, and where'd the name come from, Titus Strength? Is it Titus Strength and Conditioning?
Titus Strength and Fitness.
Okay.
When we were going through the process of wanting to start a gym, and it kept just being on our hearts, we had no idea what we would name it. And I feel like that's pretty instrumental when you're naming a business. It has to have purpose and meaningful. And we were actually sitting in church. So I grew up at Faith Assembly in Summerville. And the pastor was they were trying to get more leaders in the church. And he did a series, and it was called Titus, Raising Up Next Level Leaders. And when I saw the little card they were passing out to tell your friends about the service that was coming up, I was like, this is it.
That's it.
The colors on the card, how bold it stood out. And just I read through Titus and I was like, this is it. This is what we're doing. This is going to be the name. And we started praying over this name. And that's when everything started to line up. Is after we found the name and really started putting meaning to what that name was and what we wanted to do in the community. So our goal is really to raise up next level leaders within the community. So it could be in your finance office that you work out of. It could be your dog training business that you have. You're going to be the leadership in that, but you can't be a good leader if you're not physically, mentally, and emotionally well and strong. And so that was our purpose. Anybody who walks through these doors, we're going to find out what you do for a living, how we can help you, and how we can help you be the strongest in that environment. And so it's not just a walk in, nobody knows your name, nobody's going to talk to you and ask you about your day. When you come in, your name gets streamed across the Joe's here, and everybody knows Joe is here. Everybody knows what Joe does for a living. Everybody asks about Joe's day. Joe's grumpy. Why are you grumpy?
Lift some weights, Joe.
Don't come in here and be grumpy. So we have our own little camp meeting there in the middle of the gym to figure out your life for you. So that was our goal and our impact. So
awesome. And I like what you just said. Wherever you are, whether you're a power lifter, whether you're a mom at home with the kids, homeschooling them, whether you're a dog trainer, a banker, whatever you do. You got to be taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You will not do anything well if you are not healthy and well.
Right. You got to eat good. You got to lift heavy things.
Yes.
You got to yell in the gym.
You have to sleep well. There's that. So we need to plug that in.
How many hours of sleep are you averaging per night?
I've gotten way better. I used to swear I would function better off of 4 to 6 hours. It was a lie. It's all a lie. I did well for a long time, but I literally have it programmed where I get 8 hours of sleep.
Nice. So what time are you hitting the rack? What time are you waking up?
So I get in bed. So our kids have to be in their rooms and quieting down at 10. So I work.
That's late.
Yeah, but they're homeschoolers. We don't get up till 8.
Okay,
that's the key. That's the key. So I typically work for 2 hours after they go to sleep. So really? I'm writing programs. I'm reviewing videos. I'm making the posts on social media for the businesses. So I give myself 2 hours of quiet work time. And then all lights out, everything's off by midnight. And because I know I'm getting up at 8.
Yeah.
So that's my 12 to 8 is what I do every day. People know if they message me, call me or anything, it will not be answered before 8.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And most people have been at work for 2 hours.
It's like, what's BJ? Is he on the same thing or is he a little bit different?
So his is a little different. He's normally sleeping, snoring loudly. We're working on that by 10 because he gets up somewhere between 6:30 and 7:30.
Okay.
But
does that interrupt your sleep cycle at all? If he gets up, you're out.
No, I just go back.
And when he's snoring, you just lay down. You're good to go.
For the most part, like some days I'm like smacking the bed, so he'll roll over. He knows.
I gotcha. Yeah. So with the kids, that's interesting that you say they know they're going to be in their room at this time.
Yep.
Y'all say, hey, between 10 and 8 or whatever time, like this, y'all got to be. You can stay in your room, go out to go to the bathroom, whatever. But it's pretty much be in your room, quiet time, do your thing, sleep, whatever.
Yep.
Is that like the rule?
Yep, pretty much. So at 9:00 we have family reading time. Mm-hmm. So normally
BJ's there or BJ's asleep?
He's there.
Okay.
he's still there. He's still there.
He's still awake.
Mentally still there, I think. Physically he's there. Mentally maybe checked out. But so we have family reading time.
Giving you a hard time,
BJ. He'll have to come on here next to have his dose. So at 9:00. So that when we get home, typically BJ picks the kids up from the gym because they've been with me all day. Mm-hmm. They go home and do whatever, play, watch TV, whatever it is they want to do for a few hours. Mm-hmm. When I get home after I eat dinner and all the stuff, at 9:00 we have family reading time. Mm-hmm. And it's 30 minutes where they read on their own. Mm-hmm. I typically work with Wesley on a little bit of more school stuff or just
I like that.
Where we have to hone in on things, but it's just like brings everything back down. And then we have 30 minutes of like devotion time together where we read a devotion, we pray, and then if there's some time left, sometimes people get crazy some more, but it's really us just like gearing down and getting ready for everybody to go to bed. Yeah. So we really do have structure for that last couple hours of our evening, but the structure is pretty much together. Yeah. Because we've all just been running like crazy. Yeah.
And so then 10 p.m. you're in your room.
Yep, everybody's in their rooms. Like we legitly go in our room. They go in. I do work out of my room, which most people say you should not do that, but that's what's comfortable. It works. It works fantastically. Mm-hmm. And then kids literally go to their rooms. Most part, the younger two go straight to bed. My older one, stays up a little bit longer, somewhat. But that's it. Mm-hmm. They know my kids are morning people too. Yeah. They're morning people.
What time are they getting up?
What time are you up, Faith? 7:00? Yeah, they have their own alarms, but when they get up, they are happy and they are talking and they are laughing and having a great time. I'm like, ooh. When I walk into the room, it's like,
oh yeah,
be ready to be bombarded. So I love that they have so much zeal for life, but it's early.
And so like whenever they get up, they're doing their own thing.
They do their own thing. We are in such a fun place in life. But people who are in the younger stage, how old are your kids?
4 and 2.
Yeah, it's a sleepy time in life. It's exhausting, but we are in such a cool place in life where they're so independent, and really we're just in that place where we're guiding them to make better choices. Like we tell them all the time, make good choices as we're like running down halls, because that's where we are. Is where we're just trying to get them to be good human beings and make good choices in everything they do. We're a little bit of discipline here and there, but not not having to guide them as much as like where you are.
Right.
It's a great place.
Well, I'm just ignoring a lot of the screaming. Like they wake up in the morning, I want mommy. I'm like, mommy's sleeping. You got me right now. Let's go. Time to let the chickens out.
Right. It's a lot of redirecting and like keeping them happy, keeping them busy. And it is a tiring time in life.
Oh yeah.
It does get better.
Shout out to all the moms out there taking care of the kids. Yes. Especially during that young age frame, time frame.
It does get better. And I know there are some tough things that, parents complain about, like the teenage years and whatnot, but it's a really cool place to be.
Yeah. Good to go. So you guys got that going on. Titus it's booming. It's
exploding.
It's exploding.
I love it.
At the seams.
I love it. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
What challenges did you have as a business owner? Let's think about business owner perspective.
Sure.
You already talked a little bit. The place in Cane Bay, there were some challenges there. You just, basically redirected. You found the location you're at now. Good to go. You execute.
Yep.
Busting at the seams.
Yep.
Good to go with all that. So what, lessons learned do you have, starting up a gym, you already talked about, no one's going to give you a loan. That's not going to happen.
Nope.
Too much liability.
That thing was tied to our house. So if it went under, you want to talk about motivation?
Oh, yeah.
If that gym went under, my house went with it.
Yeah.
And so like we would be homeless more or less if somebody didn't help me out.
Yeah.
So that fueled us dramatically to get out of the community, get uncomfortable, making uncomfortable decisions, and just like plugging and fighting for ourselves all the time and believing what we were doing. Even when, I can't tell you how many times people quoted the statistic that 99% of gyms fail. I heard that ad nauseum, and I'm like, I'm going to be the 1%.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is dumb. I don't care what you're saying. We have something that is going to impact the community, and we're going to do it better than anybody else in this area can do. And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're staying in our lane. We're doing what we do, and it's paying off. We're almost 5 years in. And now it's really paying off. Like we're actually getting a little bit of a paycheck now. You don't go into the gym business and own a gym if you want to be rich by any means. There has to be some bigger purpose outside of that. So like the gym is not paying our mortgage. That's not where we're getting our income from. Yeah. Now, some of the subsets of the gym, like my coaching and stuff like that, that's giving us the paycheck, but it's not the gym itself.
Right.
That bigger purpose is what can we do for the community?
Yeah.
Who can we impact as they're going out? These teenagers that sit at my desk and they talk to me about their speeding tickets. They talk to me about, I have college next week and I am scared. Like, what does that look like? What advice do you have for me, Miss Heather? Yeah. They sit down and they talk to us about finances. Like, I have these 2 job opportunities. Should I do this or should I go to college? Hey, that's a big thing right now. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
What's your 2 cents on that?
So, actually, Faith may be the only one right now who is thinking about going to college. Yeah. My other 2 don't want to.
Yeah. They know what they want to do?
Nope.
No.
Wesley knows he wants to work for Peyton. Peyton knows she wants to work for herself, and that keeps morphing into different things. So as long as she's continuing to plug in and think about it, that's cool. We are vying for them to at least get some sort of either a business degree or something that you can do it online or at tech. Yeah. Something pretty cheap to get. Yeah. That's not going to like bust your bank account to do, but that could have a big impact on where you go, and just give you some of that base knowledge that they maybe not have seen, but they have been involved in every aspect of our business owning. So we're taking them to the city offices and getting our different permits that we need and our different business licenses. Like they have seen all of that. Yeah. They've seen how do you write a contract for a client coming in to sign up. They go to us to the bank. They all have their own bank accounts. They see how to manage that. Yeah. They each have their own savings account that we've already started talking to them about. Like, look, you can use this money for a house. You can use this money for a car. You can use this money for college, whatever you want, whenever you turn 18. That's what it's for. Yeah. They see that we have rental property out there and that potentially each one of them has their own rental property when they graduate. Yeah. You decide what you want to do with that. It's going to be yours. Yeah. So are you going to live in it? Technically rent free. You're just take over whatever mortgage may be on it. Yeah. Are you going to sell it? If you sell it, what are you going to use it for? You're going to use it for college. You're going to use it for a car, buy something else, that kind of thing. So we're getting to have those conversations with them. Yeah. So they're already kind of starting to formulate their own opinions on do they want to own their own businesses or do they want to work for somebody else? So.
Dang, that's intense.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
They're in the right place. Yeah. They're learning real life skills, building up that mindset where you don't just need to do what so-and-so told you to do. Yes. What so-and-so, you got to think for yourself.
Think outside the box.
Exactly.
That's huge. Yeah. Pate took a business class in high school, and their big project one day was they needed to come up with the business and write the business plan and all the things. She sat in class and did it in like 2 minutes. Boom. Everybody else is taking the whole week, and her teacher's like, "What? Where this? Like you didn't want to ask anybody?" And it was flawless. Nice. It was beautiful. I was like, "That's my girl." That's intense. But that's the stuff that we're getting to equip them with, and we feel like so privileged that we get to teach them that kind of knowledge to take out into the world. So they're going to be extremely successful in what they do, whether they have a 4-year degree or not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, good to go.
Yeah.
So Titus is booming, busting at the seams. You're in there talking to the kids that are coming through. You're coaching people.
Yeah.
Where did Clean Eatz come into play?
So COVID and we're all sitting at home. Yeah. And
you're like, I'm bored. I'm going to get something else.
This is crazy. Like, I sleep well because I use all of the juices in my brain every night. Like it shuts down.
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly thinking. I don't listen to the radio often in the car because my mind is just going. Have a notepad I write down at night if I wake up, just because I typically wake up because something's on my brain. So I write that down at night. So my juices are constantly going. Yeah. Again, I'm an Enneagram 3. So that's I thrive off of goals, but also needing new goals to go to. So during COVID, everything was shut down. I was doing the best I could with the gym. So people were coming to my house to take classes, so they would still continue to pay.
Oh, because you guys had to close the doors.
Yep, we hadn't found the loophole yet.
Yeah.
So we were shut down.
Yeah.
But I let people take equipment home from the gym so that they would keep paying. We did everything possible to keep paying. Literally only had 2 people freeze their accounts. Yeah. Like that's how much people believed in us and what we were doing. Some of my best friends who are gym members were coming to my house to train. We brought some racks home. Yeah. And because that was keeping us mentally stable. That was the constant. We were still training. We were still meeting those goals that we wanted to do.
I mean, if you go, whenever COVID hit, they wanted everybody to sit in your house and not do anything, and that's just like going to make it worse.
Yes.
You got to be outside. Yes. You got to move. You got to be active. You got to eat good.
All the research we have done for years says you need outside air. You need to interact with people to keep you healthy. You need to keep moving.
Right.
And we were being told to like stay sedentary and
lift heavy things.
Oh my
gosh.
You
got to lift heavy things.
And lift heavy things. And so those juices are flowing, and I'm like, man, I need to help my clientele. I have a certificate in nutrition. It's not my favorite because it's hard. Getting people to eat right and do right is hard. To me, it's the hardest part of like living healthy and well, is that dialing in on the nutrition and doing it what you feel like is right with the correct knowledge. I was like, I need something that's not going to take up a ton of my time, but I can still provide a good service to my clientele on the nutrition side, because people either wanted me to write them 100% meal plans on what they should eat, and it would last for a couple weeks and just fall off. Just tell them the macros and they would do their best with what they could. All these different things. Nutrition's just hard. How can I make this better? And so I looked up, I knew of a couple of different companies out there, Clean Eatz being one of them, and I loved what I was seeing from afar. So I did a research on a couple of the different like business models, and Clean Eatz fit exactly what I wanted. So I got on their website, and I could not believe what I was seeing. It said no more businesses, Clean Eatz businesses or cafes were going to be open in South Carolina. Just South Carolina. Why?
Really?
Why? It's a North Carolina-based company. It said just South Carolina. And I was like, God, this is really weird.
Yeah.
This is really weird. And I shot the message to a couple of friends, because financially we were going to partner with one of our friends. And they're like, hey, I think we'd like to look into this more. So I didn't take no for an answer. I don't care if it said no more in South Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to email corporate office.
Yeah.
So I emailed them, was like, hey, I see on your website it says this, but I live in the Cane Bay area. It's exploding. It needs something like this. What would you guys think? They're like, no. But
there we go.
But that's all I needed.
Yeah.
There is this cafe in Mount Pleasant that needs to be sold. They just want to retire. They actually live in Myrtle Beach, but they run it. They come all week long, and then they go home on the weekends.
Wow. Our Clean Eatz Cafe?
Yeah, the owners. And so I was like, let's look into this. And so we just started looking into it more and more. And we're like, this is great. It was selling for a great price. Our business partners decided not to do it along with us, but BJ and I are like, we see the value in this and the huge value in this. Backtrack just a little bit. Before COVID, BJ had quit his job at Volvo. He had been working for Westvaco for a long time, shift work for 15 years. We were over that.
That takes a toll on you.
It was bad. It was bad. I think they said it cuts off 10 years of your life doing that stuff. And it was showing.
Especially if you're doing a lot of night shifts.
Well, it's rotating. So we never could catch up, never could recover. So Volvo came in, promised all the stuff. A foreign company coming into the U.S. and trying to run like a foreign company doesn't work.
Right.
And it was just bad.
Yeah.
So he was just terrible moods all the time. I was like, just quit. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. COVID. So it kind of worked out fine. It worked out fine. So then I was like, hey, I need you to have a job. Let's buy this cafe for you to run. That's how it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that he legitimately didn't have anything else tying him down. No job he had to quit, put in a 2-week notice to. He just started running in the cafe.
So he took over?
Yeah.
That's his baby?
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with that.
Yeah.
Next.
Now, Clean Eatz.
Yes.
Before we go on to the next thing, Clean Eatz, the way that it works.
Okay.
Do people hit you guys up? These are my macros. I want meal plans that
so
match
they can.
My macros.
So I can help them with that.
Yeah.
That's not what the company does itself. Okay. Basically, the company wants to be like one of the first steps to help you getting into the healthy eating lifestyle. That's their goal. Mm-hmm. And so we have these macro-based meal plans that you can purchase off each week. We have the grab and go cooler in there. So if you didn't order a meal plan or you just want to try some of the meals without really committing an entire meal plan for the week, you can go in and pick up some of our previous meal plans out of the freezer section that we have, or you can come into the cafe and get all these really fresh meals made for you right there. Really good food, bison burgers, stuff it's so good.
Now, do they break down, let's say you grab one of the freezer packs, does it tell you?
It has the macros
protein,
on it.
Carbs, fats, this is what's in this.
You got it. You got it. And so that's what's really fantastic is that, when I'm during my cut, I can go and look at all the macros and figure out how I'm going to make these meals fit mine. So sometimes I have to cut a meal in half, or sometimes I have to eat 2 of these meals to make it work for me. But I already know the macros and I don't have to do the cooking. Don't have to do the messy cleanup. I pop the lid off that thing, put it in the microwave, done in 2 minutes.
Good to go. Wolf it down.
Yes.
Let's lift some heavy weights.
Go on about way. Because I frankly, BJ's the cook in the house. I can do it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like to be outside. I like to be playing. I like to be moving.
It takes a lot of time to prep.
And who likes dishes?
Yeah.
After all that, somebody's got to do the dishes. Now, my children do most of them because we're at that stage in life. But I don't want to, have them do that.
Yeah.
And it's hours in the kitchen. So why don't we take that headache off? Why don't we help people who this is the hardest part in what they do to have a healthy living, and go ahead and provide you with that stuff.
Now, if you break down the costs, let's say they're prepping all their own stuff.
Yep.
Versus they're buying a pre-made Clean Eatz meal that fits all their macros.
Right.
I'm sure you've done the calculations, or BJ has. Is it about the same? Is it
It is super close. I would say maybe add $2 on per meal.
Yeah. But then you're talking about time to prep.
Huge.
What's worth more,
time is money?
$2?
If time is money, you are spending a lot less on this Clean Eatz meal than you are making your own meals.
Time is money.
Time is huge money. There's so many other productive things that I can be doing with my day that are going to make me a lot more money than meal planning, meal prepping. So that was the value that we saw in buying Clean Eatz. And so people can go onto our Mount Pleasant Clean Eatz website, choose satellite location, and actually choose Titus to have their food delivered to.
Are you serious?
So if you don't want to go all the way to Mount Pleasant, each week you just choose Titus, you pay for your meals online, and then Monday afternoon you can come pick up your meals at Titus.
Really?
Yes.
So let's say I want to do the Clean Eatz thing.
Yes.
And let's say I have macros, that I'm eating right now.
Yep.
Do I submit that to Clean Eatz Mount Pleasant and say, hey, I'm on these macros. Can you guys make the meals for me? Whatever.
So I would be the one that gets that email.
Okay.
And I would be like, hey, so this is what we have this week. So every week we come up with 5 new meals. And so I was like, these are the meals that we have this week. Or maybe I have a few of these meals in my grab and go freezer. This is what's going to work best for you. So I'm not necessarily going to make that meal to fit yours specifically, but this is how what we have can work.
Okay.
And so that's the easiest that we can do.
Now, do you have people coming to you for nutrition coaching specifically?
Yes.
Or do they have to do the powerlifting and the nutrition as part of it?
Nope.
They come to you just for nutrition.
Yep.
They say, these are my goals, this is what I'm doing. And you're like, all right, let's get you on this meal plan. Good to go.
Yep. And then if you want, you can use Clean Eatz to help with that, or just whatever you're doing at home.
Thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So that's where you're at right now. What's if you're allowed to say in public, if you're allowed to release your confidential information.
Sure.
What's the next step?
So we are now, as of next week, should be Tuesday, because all legal things just, the deadlines sometimes keep getting further and further. We will be the new owners of Clean Eatz North Charleston as well.
Oh, the one on Dorchester? Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we're
Domination.
It is super exciting.
Domination.
My goal is to make it to Cane Bay. I will make it. And sheesh, do you go in that area often?
I have eaten at the Clean Eatz in North Charleston before.
How about the Cane Bay area? Have you been over there?
Oh, I go to Doc Anthony Chiropractic, Cane Bay. That's who I go see. But I'm in public.
I mean, if you look at the plans for that area, it's the population that's gonna be in there is gonna be more than all of the rest of Summerville outside of that.
Last year they bought, I want to say 500 or 1,500 more acres to build homes.
More homes.
Right.
It's absurd.
It already takes 10 minutes to get from that intersection to the Four Seasons, and it takes like 10 minutes to get back there.
Crazy. It's crazy. So we would be dumb not to move there. So that's our ultimate goal, is to move, have a cafe in that area. Mm-hmm. So we're inching closer.
Good to go. You told Clean Eatz you're doing that. They're like,
yes, we keep telling them all the time. We keep telling them all the time. Next, this is what we're doing.
What if they say no? You're like, you know what? Screw you, Clean Eatz. We're just going to start our own thing.
Potentially could be the case, because that area is calling for it. There's so many people in that area who want to be healthy. They want to be well.
Oh yeah.
The second largest YMCA in the nation is there.
I go there Thursday mornings to swim. Okay. Actually, 5:30 a.m.
Fantastic. So, yeah. Have you been to the aquatic center?
No, it's farther away from me.
That's true.
Yeah, the Cane Bay. I've driven by it. Very nice, but the Cane Bay YMCA is just closer to me.
Close. I get it. Yeah. I get it. So I think that area is really calling for something like that. It'd work really well.
Yeah.
So
good to go. I think so. I think the clean eating is huge. I think that's the way a lot of people are starting to turn, that direction.
Yep.
Clean food, because even like these, for example.
Yeah.
If like the way they sweeten these is with monk fruit.
Yes.
Versus sucralose.
Correct.
I don't know what you think about sucralose, but I figured out that it kind of hits my GI weird, so I don't drink any sucralose thing.
Okay.
I will every once in a while,
Yep.
And I can definitely, feel the difference versus natural sweeteners.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's a big deal for a lot of people when they're looking at different proteins and stuff of that nature. Some people just can't deal with the sucralose. Depending on how much sucralose is in something will depend on how much your body will even digest it. So if it's super tiny amounts, your body really doesn't recognize it much. It'll spit it out just like it took it in. But if there are larger amounts, which a lot of these drinks, to get them sweet enough, will have in there, it can jack some GIs up.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've been on getting more towards natural things, less sweetener, and I know a lot of people are too.
Yes, big time.
It's a big thing going on nowadays, especially in Cane Bay area. A lot of those folks are going in that direction as well.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are good to go on the path. You're going to be booming if you get it there,
Yep, let's go.
So good to go. But yeah, so what else you guys got going on? Any other plans or anything? You're gonna be? Do you compete powerlifting anymore? Or you're just coaching?
Oh, absolutely.
You're still competing?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the next thing you got coming up?
I won't compete till next year. We're waiting to see what USA Powerlifting is doing with the Arnold. So I'm hoping to compete at the Arnold in both USA Weightlifting and USA Powerlifting and get a super total.
Dang.
So
Intense.
You'll compete back to back in both those events.
Yeah.
And then you now have a super total is what they call it.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. If the Arnold doesn't work out, nationals at the mid of next year will be where I go.
Okay. And I heard you talk earlier about if you're in a cut. So when you're powerlifting, do you do bulking and cutting phases?
So normally I just eat intuitively. So I know, have my carbs around my workout, always heavy protein.
How much protein are you taking in? Like a gram per pound?
Pretty close. Okay. I stay and even a little bit more. So if I look at my lean body tissue, I probably weigh around 114, 115. So I take in about 120, 125, depending on where I am. But again, I don't track that if I'm not in a cut phase, which I'm not right now. I'm just eating to fuel my workouts and to survive.
Yeah.
So on higher stress days, I will eat more, but I eat well more so that I'm not like sluggish and feeling trashy, because I need mentally and physically to be at my prime.
Yeah.
So I always eat well no matter where I am. And then as I get gear in, about 12 weeks out is when I'll start reeling things in to do a cut. So I sit pretty comfortably.
What's the necessity of doing a cut in powerlifting? Do you have, to meet a weight class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I compete in the 52 kilo class, which means 114 pounds to basically 104, I think is the next one.
So you got to be under 114 by the time you get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty petite. I'm a little bit tall for my weight class, so I should probably be more of a 57 kilo lifter. But I'm not as competitive there. And so I just keep doing really well as a 52. So I'm going to stay there until I stop doing well. And then eventually I'll bump bump up.
And where do you normally keep your macros when you're not cutting? Is it like, we talking about the protein, where you normally keep your carbs and fats at in general?
My carbs will pretty much be a 1-to-1 ratio with my protein, and my fats will be a little bit less. So they'll be maybe somewhere around the 70 grams, just because my body digests carbs a little bit better. I've taught it that. Yeah. And so it fuels a lot better off of carbs. So those will be a little higher most of the time.
Yeah. And now when people come to you for nutritional coaching, you're meeting their goal.
Yes.
You kind of play around with it at first.
Always.
And tweak it in.
Always.
Tweak it in as you go.
Especially females. Female body is so annoying. There are so many factors when it comes to female, because you really have to look at age, where they are in that stage. Younger, we're dealing with some weird hormones. Older, we're dealing with hormones. So what does their stress look like every day? How active were they before, where we are now? Do we have any underlying diagnoses, family history of stuff, genetics? So much to look at with a female body.
Post baby hat,
yes.
Post baby making, baby, baby,
all
stuff.
All of it. Is everything functioning well?
Yeah.
And if it is, we could have a normal. But then, every month, a certain time a month, things change. And 1 month it may do this, and the next month it's going to do this.
So with all these variables, you're tweaking it as you go.
As you
go.
Do
you have like a once a week check-in with
Always.
them?
So I will never, even with like my power lifters or bodybuilders, anything of that nature that I'm even doing strength training programs for, I will never give out a program that's like, here's 8 weeks, have at it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because that is not tailored just for you. So all the things that I do are specific to each individual person. It takes longer, but it's way more effective for them, and people meet their goals better. Males on the other hand, your bodies tend to do, you stop looking at carbs and you lose weight and you like shrink up real fast. Like, why is that? I look at a French fry and I'm like 10 pounds heavier. Doesn't make any sense. So males, typically, if I can get them to listen and do what I tell them, they do exceptionally well, and they're really easy.
Yeah.
I'd say training males in like the strength training world is a little bit more difficult than getting them to eat right, where females will typically do really well in the strength training world because they're coachable, but getting them to eat well is really tough.
Yeah. Males just don't want to listen. We're like, I'll
males are tougher to get to be coachable, especially from a female. So when a female's telling me what to do, does she really know what she's talking about? All those different things come into play.
We struggle with that too in the dog training world. It's much harder to coach we call it coaching, but coach a male client versus a female, because they're like, I've always done this with my dog.
Yes. Well, there can be a better way.
And our female trainers, they learn how to, work with those types of situations, which is super important. But anyway, so tweaking along the way. Yep. Now, obviously, you're jacked. You're shredded. You're in shape, right? So anyone out there listening, maybe it's a female, maybe they've had a couple kids.
Yeah.
They want to come and meet with you, and because people are out there saying, hey, if you've had kids, you'll never be able to get back into this shape. You'll never be able to get into that shape. What do you say about that?
It's bogus. Complete bogus. I am the healthiest, the strongest I've ever been in my life, and I don't see that going anywhere. Post babies. And so I think it's the most opportune time to get the strongest and to be the healthiest, because that's all you have. Like, after my children leave my house, my health is all I have left, right? And so that I can live the rest of my life to the max potential. Like, when I die, my tombstone should say something along the lines like, she used every second she had in her life, in her waking day, to do something. And I can't do that if my body is not functioning at its optimal. So having really pretty lean muscle tissue is a big deal. That muscle tissue is what fuels your metabolism. It helps your hormones regulate themselves. All that stuff that females need, that's how you get it, by strength training. Now, do you have to have massive muscles? No. Some women are going to be more prone to that. And some of us just really work really hard to have more muscle because we want to lift more weights. So it just depends on the goal. But if you just want to be healthy and well, strength training is what you have to do. No form of cardio is going to get you there ever. So you have to lift some weights in some sort of form.
What if there's a 70-year-old lady, right? She's never really worked out, maybe done a little bit of treadmill. She's having some some issues with her body.
Okay.
And she's listening to what you're saying, and she says, you know, I'm feeling what Heather's saying.
Yeah.
Can she help me?
Absolutely.
Can she help me get to, you know, a prime state of mind, state of being?
Absolutely.
You know, they can come meet with you, get coaching, get nutrition.
Yep.
You know, they still have to be disciplined at home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's big key. Like I can only do so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. So especially as you hit that peak, we say like when you're going over 40, maybe 50, things start declining. And so you're like fighting this uphill battle kind of thing when it comes to health as an aging adult. Your muscle wastes much faster. Your bone density is going down. And there's innumerable amounts of research out there medically that shows that weight-bearing activities is absolute key to maintaining your muscle mass tissue and your bone density as you age. So we should have these programs out there for adults that, in my opinion, should be paid for by their Medicare plan. That they're doing these weight-bearing activities in these gym settings so that they can live longer and live healthier. You know, when I was in home health, I would be like begging insurance to give me a shower chair for an adult so that they could sit down and shower safely. But insurance regulations say, well, they have to have fallen and broken their hip before we can give them a shower chair. So we're racking up all this money, and then backtracking after they've gone downhill. Why aren't we being more preventative in that?
Right.
Getting these aging adults into these settings and helping them stay stronger longer. So teaching them how to deadlift so they can carry their groceries, teaching them how to squat so they can continue to clean their house and pick up their homes. If they fall on the floor, how do you get up? How do you get up correctly? Teaching them to crawl over to a couch and lift themselves up. Well, I'm going to put a vest on you now and make you do that several hundred times so that when you do, or if you do fall, you'll be able to get yourself up just fine. You know, we should be putting them in these settings so that they can maintain their independence longer.
Yeah. One of the things that ticks me off is the healthcare system. They're pushing medication on. Take this medicine, take that medicine. I'm like, come on, man, eat a clean diet.
On all age groups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if they give me medicine, I throw it away.
Absolutely.
You know, like when the bicep tore, they gave me all these pain. I literally threw it away.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I hate taking medicine.
It's bad. Yeah.
And then I was doing physical therapy, and I used to take a lot of ibuprofen, you know, for headaches. Because I wasn't drinking enough water, wasn't eating right. And my physical therapist was like, ibuprofen deteriorates your tendons. And I was like, that's you had to tell me that one time, no more. You know, no more.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, that's a big difference. Like the healthcare system, they're pushing medication. Take this medicine, take that. They want to keep you hooked on it.
It's a business.
Right.
You know, like, and that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
The more medicine you take, the more medicine you tell your friend that you took. Now they're going to take it. And so it's just a constant revolving door of money.
Versus you can eat right.
Yeah.
You know, treat your body right, get enough sleep,
maybe take some good supplements.
Right. So supplements. What do you recommend? What's your go-to?
So everybody that I coach, for the most part, I have a couple of athletes that aren't, but are drug tested athletes. So we have to take things that are third party tested. Even if you're not an athlete, I still always recommend people check the labels for their supplements and make sure that they have something like informed choice on there that says these products have been tested to say what's in them is actually in them. Because if we as athletes pop on a drug test because we lift in a clean federation, that's on us because you don't technically have to have those to lift. So just making sure that your products have in them what you say they have in them. So people who don't eat exceptionally well, like leafy greens and stuff like that. Always a greens powder is always fantastic to supplement in. I love fish oils, high quality fish oils. Those are always great for joints, vision, everything that your body needs for healthy fats. Plus healthy fats chase bad fats out. Yeah. So it's good for cholesterol and all that stuff. I don't recommend pre-workouts for people because typically if you need a pre-workout, there's something else going on. You didn't get enough sleep. You have a lot of stress. Maybe you didn't eat right that day. So do you really need the pre-workout or is it just a clutch for you?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So and I'm not a huge advocate for supplements. Protein is big. especially if you have to get in X number of proteins. So some of our bigger males, some of our people who are just trying to get them to consume more calories because they've been in such a calorie deficit for so long, or they're super busy individuals.
Yeah, they didn't even know they were in a calorie deficit.
They didn't know. It's just naivety, or they're just so busy they forget to eat. So we set their timers and they have a protein shake. Like at least they're consuming something.
What kind of protein you normally recommend?
Right now we're on First Forum.
Okay.
That's what we get through the cafe. We used to be distributors for Advocare, and I loved their products. When we took over the cafe, they're 100% First Forum, so that's what we bring in.
What about like whey versus casein versus egg white protein?
Yeah.
What do you got? Any recommendations on what protein source is better?
There's a time and place for each one of those. So I mostly consume like meat type protein. That's where most of mine come from. I will supplement with a whey protein sometimes because I'm just busy and I'm like, hey, I'm just going to grab this and just go about my day. And then casein, it has its place. So it's slower digesting. So a lot of people who maybe don't want to eat before bed, I will have them do a casein protein so that it's digesting through the night.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about creatine? Any thoughts on that?
Could take it or leave it. Some people really like to take it. I personally didn't see any benefits from it. A lot of females, and depending on the type that you use, it could cause quite a bit of swelling or just inflammation type stuff, or just water retention.
Yeah.
And everybody, again, is a little different. All that comes into play. So we kind of watch that.
Yeah.
If I have some athletes who that cutting and that kind of thing is not a big deal, sure, let's try it.
Yeah.
I'm down. It's pretty harmless.
Yeah.
In its most basic form. It's really not going to hurt anything to try it. So
what about taking extra vitamin D3 or vitamin D? Is that a big thing you're seeing nowadays? Now that all the COVID stuff came out, it's like everyone needs to be taking more vitamin D
not
or whatever.
Really.
No,
not with the population that I am dealing with.
Okay.
I think it was like a little fad for a little bit, and then people were like, "This is dumb," and they just like threw it out the window. Most
Doesn't
of us
matter.
are going outside enough to not worry about. We live in the South too.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we were up north, I may push it a little bit more because of weather and just not going out that often. But as long as people tend to go outside enough, I may, if I personally have a client that's just struggling with some things, I may have them on that if they are in an office job like 24/7, maybe some accountants at certain times of year kind of thing.
Breathing a lot of recycled air and no sunlight.
Hours and hours doing people's taxes and stuff during seasons. I may have them do something like that, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, good to go. So, I mean, that's a lot of stuff you got going on. That's awesome. Keeping up with it, good to go,
I love it.
So yeah, that's awesome. You got any, before we kind of wrap up here, questions or comments for anybody out there, like someone looking to get into weightlifting, someone looking to get into nutrition, that kind of stuff. We know you do the coaching,
right?
But maybe someone out there, they've never stepped foot into the gym.
Okay.
Or maybe they see someone on Instagram. Maybe they see you on Instagram.
Sure.
They're like, man, she looks amazing. I want to look like her.
Absolutely. Yep.
What's first steps that you would recommend?
Getting into the gym is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like having the guts to absolutely walk in, because a gym is a very intimidating place. I don't care if it's Planet Fitness. I don't care if it's a niche market gym like mine, which is, pretty small and it has a specific clientele. No matter where you go, it's intimidating to walk in because most of the time you're super self-conscious already. So you're already like, something about me is wrong that I need to fix. And if I walk in here, everybody's going to see the wrong too. When in reality, nobody sees what's wrong with you. You're the one seeing it. We're a lot of times, and there's some sort of saying out there where we're busy worrying about something else, not like your nose or whatever. And so
everybody's always harder on themselves too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I didn't even recognize that pimple on your face today. I didn't know it was there, but it was glaring at you all day. So really just getting the guts to walk in. Sometimes just shooting a gym a message, or somebody who owns a gym just a message, hey, I'm super nervous about coming into your facility. And I've had it happen several times. I'm really nervous, like, what do I need? Am I okay to come in? Is there any time I can meet you off hours so it's just me and you, so I can get the feel of this place? I love to do that. I love to empower people and get them in. So really just stepping foot in, but knowing that people really aren't judging you.
Yeah.
I think there's just this really bad stigma about a lot of gyms. Maybe there are some out there. My gym is not like that. You will be loved on more than probably you want to at my gym. People want to know your business more just to love on you more than you want to. Yeah. But most gyms out there are not that way. And actually, there's probably somebody in that gym setting that you're going to come up next to, and then you guys are going to just form this lifelong bond together. And I love those type of bonds that are made in gyms. Yeah. You may not meet at somebody ever, but the time that you get to hang out is you guys arrive at the gym the same time. And then you start talking about your kids, and then you start forming this really cool relationship, and you met at the gym.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it can be a really cool environment for people, but it is pretty intimidating. So literally either having somebody go with you, finding a partner who's going to go with you, or maybe messaging the owner or messaging somebody that you know that goes there to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable. Nutrition, start easy. Man, just start easy. So you said water earlier was giving you headaches or the lack of it. I recommend all my athletes consume a gallon of water, but when they come to me, I don't say drink a gallon of water.
Chug it right now. You're in my office.
Now.
Chug this water.
Tomorrow or you're fired. We take processes. So we figure out, do we need to set timers on your watch or your phone? Do we need to start out with just 2 bottles of water for you because you don't drink anything but diet soda? That's a big deal. Yeah. So just starting really small with nutrition is really huge because we find definitely that people who make these drastic changes never stick with it. Yeah. They'll just fall off super fast within the first week. Yeah. So it's making those small changes like water, or substituting one thing out for another through your week, and then the following week making another little change, that kind of thing.
It's got to be sustainable for that person.
Yep.
Do you recommend people right out the gate? Because in my mind, there's 2 types of people. There's someone that's starting to gain weight the way they don't want to. Yeah. They're starting to notice, they're like, oh, I got to do something. Or maybe they're just getting skinnier, and they're trying to they're wanting to gain weight maybe.
Okay.
Healthy weight, but then they're I'm just getting skinnier. And what's happening is one person's eating too much. The other person is eating too little. Right. Do you ever start them off hey, just track yourself for a week?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what you do?
If somebody is never tracked, they're I don't even know how much I eat in a week. I don't pay attention to it. That's huge. There's nothing for me to base it off of. And if I throw this one who doesn't ever eat, if I then throw them on, 3,000 calories, they're I'm going to vomit if I eat another piece of chicken. We don't want to be there either, because now we're losing weight again. Yeah. So it is definitely a big key that we know what our base is that we're looking at. And actually what you were saying tends to be somewhat reversed. The people that are gaining weight tend to be the ones who are eating less. So their body, so your body actually goes into this hibernation phase. And when you're not eating, it stores anything that you put in it because it's afraid you're going to starve it the next day, which you are. So they're actually just going to gain the weight. Somebody who is super tiny, they may be on the same path, but a lot of times they're just eating the wrong stuff. If they are eating enough, they're eating the wrong stuff, and their body can't fuel right. Yeah. So it's huge to have this baseline of what are we doing right now. Then I have to have, what does your day look like? And most people have a schedule, and if we don't, we need to get you on a schedule, because that's another big key too.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah.
I did see on one of your Instagrams a massage thing. Do you guys do massages at Titus?
We do.
You do? What's the details on that?
So Recovery in Motion. Yeah, she actually a beautiful friend of mine who we went to high school together, graduated together.
Oh, nice.
Moved to North Carolina, got her PT degree, started her own business up there. She was working for a company, but going to CrossFit, saw the need to help CrossFitters and their crazy training. They're always broken. And so she started doing a lot of training with those type of athletes and just kept growing her business. And God kept calling her home, shut some doors there. When she was deciding to come home, I'm like, man, I need you in my life. I can do a lot of the PT stuff. I don't have time. So I was cupping people, doing manual manipulation and stuff in between all the other things I had going on. And it was just super overwhelming. And I was not doing my clients a really good service. Yeah. So when she approached me, I was like, come, I have a room. You can come in, run your business out of my gym. Let's do this thing. And it's been a huge blessing. She is fixing so many of my clients so that now they can continue to perform well and do better and not quit working out because they were hurting because of something else.
Right. So they get in touch with Titus to do that? Do they have to be a Titus member to use her, or they can just use her?
Yep.
They hit up Recovery in Motion, or they hit up Titus?
Recovery, either one. Okay. Most of the time I'll just be like, hey, here's Courtney's info, and she'll schedule you to come on in.
Okay.
But she brings clientele in. She's there 3 days a week. Or whatever she needs to be.
Yeah.
And she's just floating through the gym. If she doesn't have clients, she has become super busy.
Yeah.
With all people. So
yeah.
I love
and
it.
Lifting heavy weights probably.
She is on the CrossFit side.
Good to go. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Heather, I really appreciate, you coming by today. I know it's a little bit out of your way.
Yeah.
And so really appreciate you coming by. Sure. Really, really good to learn about everything you guys got going on. I feel like a lot of people are looking for where to go. Where do I go?
Yep.
I want to get in shape. I want to be nutritionally sound. I want to be healthier.
Yep.
Right here.
Come on.
Good to go.
We got the full package.
Yep. So where are you at on Facebook? Are you on Facebook, Titus Strength and Fitness?
Yeah, so we have Titus Strength and Fitness.
Clean Eatz Mount Pleasant.
Clean Eatz Mount Pleasant. Okay. On Instagram, you can find me Misfit Faas, or Titus Strength and Fitness, Clean Eatz Mount Pleasant, soon to be Clean Eatz from Charleston.
Yep. Good.
All those avenues.
Domination. Good to go. I like it.
We're coming for you, Charleston.
You got anybody bring dogs to the gym? Do you let them do that?
Yeah. So our dog Bella comes, and then we've got several members who are just like, hey, can I bring so-and-so with me today? We've had a couple Yorkies that have walked on the treadmills a few times because they have some energy.
That's what I was going to ask you is cardio. How do you implement cardio into the powerlifting? Like is it to build up cardiovascular strength? Is it to just get moving? How do you incorporate it?
You just opened a whole nother can of worms. Are you ready? Powerlifter's cardio is like reps of 8. So that's a powerlifter's cardio is the higher rep range. We go through a volume phase, and then a strength phase, and then a peak phase. That volume phase is where we typically hit cardio. So I'm never going to ask an athlete to go run on the treadmill or do any sort of steady state cardio. Unless they have like maybe a weight loss goal of some sort. But typically it's kind of counterproductive. Okay. So cardio tends to at some point start consuming the muscle that we're trying to build. And so you won't see that from a powerlifter. Now a CrossFitter, they're going to do cardio because that's a part of their training and their programming. But an Olympic lifter or a powerlifter, you won't see cardio built in unless there's some other obstacle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Volume is enough.
Yeah. Good to go.
We like the 3 rep range. It's great.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So, but again, so Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else they should be looking to hit you up. You guys got a YouTube channel or anything started up?
Not yet. That'd be a whole nother avenue. Maybe you could help us with that at some point.
We can. I'm more than happy to.
I like it.
Good to go.
Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming out. Yeah. If you guys have questions, hit Heather up. Hit up Titus Strength and Fitness. Hit up Clean Eatz.
Yep.
Good to go.
USA Powerlifting.
USA Powerlifting.
Yep.
More things coming.
Lots
right? And you'll see her at the Arnold next year, right? Good to go. Well, thanks again, Heather. Appreciate it. Thank you to the listener. We did give her some of our Iron Revolution apparel. So you guys make sure you check that out. Everybody out there getting after it.
I'm stoked for this.
Yeah, it's a good time. But again, thank you to the listener. Thanks for your support. And until next time,